involved in the PPC for quite a few years, and looking at our current choices out there for federal government, not really too impressed with any of the policies they're putting forward, and the whole concept of unity government, they all seem to be the same. So I felt the PPC would be the best option forward.
Under Maxime Bernier's leadership, which policies are you drawn to?
Quite a few of them, actually. I like most of his policies. One of the things is inflation. Inflation in Canada is out of control, and if you want to believe the government narrative that 2.5 is what it's at, I suggest you take a look at your grocery bill from 3 years ago and do some math on that. Also, another one is the firearms. Okay, I'm a hunter or shooter. I love the outdoors and that. And the government seems to be unfairly targeting me as a source of crime instead of looking at where the crime truly is with the criminals.
Janssen addresses the issue facing police forces across Canada, that issue being catch and release, offenders reoffending while out on bail.
That is definitely a hot button topic, and sorry, I'm from the law and order side of things, and you commit the crime, you go to jail. I don't look at it as a rehabilitation thing necessarily, but a punishment. I have 2 kids, okay? I want my streets clean so they can walk around safe. The guy that commits a crime, I don't really care that much about what happens to him. Just keep him away from my family.
What's the PPC's stance on affordable housing? What would your go-to for that be?
The biggest thing of affordable housing is we have too many people here at the moment. So cutting down on immigration, and that would definitely help our housing market for sure.
How about issues concerning the tariffs? How would the PPC approach, if they were to form government, how would you approach what's happening between Canada and the United States?
Well, I can only speak for myself, but I will say that I think we're being bad neighbors to the States, okay? Trump asked us a fairly simple thing: cut down on the fentanyl and clean up our border. And for some reason, our government decided that this is not what they wanted to do, and instead decided to get into a tariff war. So I would suggest let's deal with the fentanyl issue, which is causing a lot of grief in the States, and as you well know, a lot of problems in Canada as well.
So would that mean more border agents?
I would say more border agents, maybe. I'm not really sure exactly how that all works down there. Okay, I can't say I'm a border agent expert. Okay, but just policing crime in Canada. They don't seem to be wanting to do too much about the fentanyl issue.
I work with a whole range of folks across the country and helping them achieve their goals. So I have a good intricate knowledge of how to get things done, both at the federal, provincial levels of government. But before that, I worked for 20 years on Parliament Hill. I worked for Stephen Harper. I worked for John Baird, and I was Rona Amrose's chief of staff when she was leader of our party.
And so when do you really start work?
The work starts first thing tomorrow. I'm looking forward to hearing from the Riding Association to hear what their plans are in terms of lists, in terms of signage, in terms of social media, all those sorts of things. I know they've been very busy trying to organize this event, and I give them credit for doing it on such short notice. But now we have to change our focus to run a campaign, and I'm looking forward to it.
What does your party have to do to win this next election?
Well, it's a good question. I think the polls have no doubt tightened since Mr. Trudeau resigned. I think Pierre Poilievre and his team, they've been telling folks for a long time, the polls will narrow, that's natural, but the only way to win is hard work, and a lot of elbow grease gets it done. So no doubt this is going to be, I think, a very good battle between Mr. Carney's vision of the country and Mr. Poilievre's vision of the country, which I am so supportive of, and I really do look forward to talking to people about that in the coming days.
And you reside locally, or are you from out of town?
So we have a home in Powassan. My wife and I own a residence there. We own a residence in Ottawa, and so the plan would be, of course, members of Parliament have to be in Ottawa about 30 weeks a year. So when they have to be there for votes and government business, to be there, and when the House of Commons is not in session, to be here amongst family and friends in Powassan. I would, of course, have a local campaign, a constituency office, in North Bay proper. And I'd like to explore how maybe the further reaches of the riding, we could have a community office that's open part of the time here. Because I really do believe that those parts of the riding need, good representation and engagement. And it's a big riding.
And so what do you really want to see personally from hopefully that you can do for your riding?
That's a great question because, I talked in my speech about meeting the moment. And I really do believe that with all the changes in the last weeks and months, The world has changed for Canada in a lot of ways.
Here is the headline in the Timiskaming Speaker. Kennedy wins NDP nod in Nipissing-Timiskaming. Valerie Kennedy represents the New Democratic Party in Nipissing-Timiskaming. She spoke to me over Zoom.
Well, I feel it's a privilege to have been nominated, and I'm so excited about that. So a little bit of my background. I live in Englehart, Ontario, and I worked on the railway for over 30 years. I've been a strong advocate for workers and our community. I was chair for Unifor Rail for probably 25 years, working with women's advocacy, political action. And as far as the community, I've always been involved in wellness in the community, whether that be a coach for competitive athletes, and just getting involved with children. I now am officially retired, and I do supply at the school as an EA and an occasional teacher, and also at the library. So I'm really involved in the community, and I love Northern Ontario, and I'm passionate about it. So I'm excited to get this party started.
Since Nipissing-Timiskaming is such a big riding, how do you approach introducing yourself to voters? Are you going to be, once the campaign gets underway, you're going to be door knocking? How are you going to introduce yourself to voters?
Yeah, I'm not waiting for the campaign. My boots are on the ground, and I'm going to be going to all communities. I'm very familiar with the communities, as I represented people from North Bay to Moosonee. And I've also worked on Charlie Angus's campaign. So they've also opened doors for me, and I will definitely be going boots on the ground to visit every community.
What are the biggest issues facing voters for the upcoming federal election?
Yeah, the biggest thing right now is affordability, housing, healthcare, transportation, working with our people that are unhoused, and just trying to get by. And I just want to make sure that everyone has equal opportunity in this in Northern Ontario. I feel like we've been left behind, but mark my words, we won't be. I'm a pretty strong advocate for Northern Ontario, and I won't stop that fight.
Tariffs are on a lot of people's minds, how this will impact the economy, people's jobs. What's your approach to that?
My approach is standing up strong for Canada and our sovereignty.
I was born and raised here in North Bay. I'm Algonquin and French background, and I decided to get into the race because I believe in the Green Party's platform, and I believe in democracy. And I feel that the people should always have at least 3 or more candidates on the ballot box when they go to vote.
Why is that important to you to have options for people going to the ballot?
If we don't have options, we run the risk of going into a 2-party type of politics, and that is never a good thing, and that's not proper democracy.
Are you going door to door?
No, I'm not going to door. I've been doing mostly malls and events. I find that much easier for me to get a better chance at people when there's more in the room.
And there is a decision from the Green Party of Canada not necessarily to go door to door in communities. Can you tell us why?
We've had a lot of pushback, and we've had a lot of problems going door to door. The people have been very aggressive towards the Green Party, and we're here still to fight, and we're still going to try and get our word out.
Why do you think that is? Why are candidates facing that negative energy?
I think it has a lot to do with American-style politics and with the tariffs and with the United States president. And the people it's a very different election this time around. People are not really voting for what the platform has to offer. They're voting for the person they feel is better equipped to take on the U.S.
Tell us about the Green Party platform for those that don't know. What are the key points?
Key points is that we always strive for a healthier, greener, cleaner environment, and we are for the people and for the planet. We've always been that way.
A lot of talk about pipelines. What is the stance of the Green Party concerning either existing or proposed pipelines stretching across Canada to transport crude oil?
We want to get out of the old-fashioned ways, and we want to get out of last century's type of ways of, doing with energy. We have the ability to work with the sun, the wind, and the water, and we would rather have it a clean, greener energy than what we have right now. Fossil fuels have got to go.
I've been thinking about it for a while, but certainly the events of the recent months with the United States has solidified my decision to move forward.
How strong of a stance does Canada need to have in international relations with our closest neighbor?
I think it's very important that we take a very strong stance. You know, it's interesting because to every cloud, they always say there's a silver lining. And I find it impressive to see the amount of Canadian pride that has come forward. And I think that's delightful. And I think it's a very positive outcome out of a very difficult situation. And I think it will serve Canada very well. And I would like to be part of that journey. I would like to make sure Nipissing-Timiskaming is at the center of that journey. And so, yes, I think it's very important that we stand strong and united.
The Liberal Party of Canada still is undergoing its decision for their leader. Do you have a candidate that you are putting your name behind?
Certainly, we have very capable individuals that are running, but I do favor Mark Carney, and I have for a while. Certainly, I believe in the future in which we're heading, that some of the qualities that are essential, financial acumen, and I think he shines there for sure. I think diplomacy, and I mean, I watched him on, on television when he gave an interview with an American journalist, and he has good tact, he's funny, he's quick, and so yes, all in all, I think an excellent candidate. And I believe we need a very strong central government right now, a government that can unite the right and the left. And I say we need a little less government maybe than what we had before, and a little bit more private enterprise. And I would say that that is Mark Carney. He's there in the middle, and that's what I stand for.
What vision do you see for Nipissing-Timiskaming?
Well, certainly I think in the future in which we're heading, in which there's going to be greater trading opportunities within Canada, I think Nipissing-Timiskaming has many assets that lend themselves well to that future. Agriculture, I mean, we just have to think about Powassan, Chisholm, the Timiskaming Shores area, Earlton, our mining sector, and we can name others. But certainly I think we have many assets, and I think that opportunity to further unleash our potential, that ambition for our riding, I'd say is something I look forward to exploring.